USB-C and new colors. That's it. Thanks for watching. You thought I'd do that? Let's give these AirPods Max 2 a proper review. £499 is what I paid for these, the AirPods Max 2. Apple released these back in September, and they're the slightly updated version of their over-the-ear headphones. These are the most expensive AirPods that Apple sell, but should you be buying these, and are they really worth nearly £500? Let's go check them out. As you'll know by now, these are quintessentially Apple. From the minute you unbox them to the minute you actually get them on your head, these headphones are Apple at their finest. So I've been using these AirPods for the last couple of weeks. I've taken them on planes, on trains. I've used them to edit videos. I've used them to listen to music, to do phone calls. And these are the pros of the AirPods Max. Firstly, the AirPods Max 2 have the best Apple ecosystem auto switching I've ever seen from any device ever. When you've got them on your head and you're using them on a phone call on your iPhone, you sit down to your Mac and you want to switch that call, instantly happens. Like clockwork, nothing goes missing, it just switches automatically. And also, if you're working on your Mac and you pick up your phone to see someone sent you a voice note or a video or something to consume on your phone, it will automatically detect you're on your phone and it will switch and then back to your Mac. It is seamless, it is genuinely amazing. It's probably the best thing about these headphones. Nobody can deny that this is a really, really good feature. And obviously one of the main reasons you're going to get these headphones is because A, they're Apple's, and B, the audio quality. You want to have the best audio quality available out of Apple's headphones. You're not going to get them with the earbuds, you're going to get these with the over-the-ear AirPods Max 2. Now, in terms of the audio quality, it is very good. However, with some slight caveats. The slight caveats being, I'm pretty sure the low end and the bass is given extra punch, and there's a bit of a cut in the EQ around 2 to 6 kilohertz, and then a lift for the high end clarity slightly above that, so like around 8, 9, 10K. It gives you thick, thumping bass, but very crisp high end. So you have both the bottom end of the spectrum and the high end of the spectrum really high, but there's a slight dip in the middle. If you're wondering how the hell can you tell this, well, I've been using M50X headphones by Audio-Technica to produce music, which have a flat EQ. So they don't boost the bass, they don't boost the highs, they don't boost or cut anything. It's just a flat EQ. What you hear is what you get. And those are amazing for making music because you get a true reference of how your bass sounds, how your high end sounds. And they're obviously not noise cancelling, they are just studio headphones that you plug in, you put them on, and you get to work. They are not in the same ballpark as this, but it does give you an understanding of how EQ works and how they can differ on different headphones, different places you listen to in the car, on your headphones, on speakers. So I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of a boost. And if you wanted to listen to a song that I made, I'll put a link up here to a crazy music video. Go check that out. And after 5 years of making music and having tracks played on BBC Radio as track of the week, I think I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. I'm obviously not touring around the globe. I'm not the biggest artist in the world. I'm definitely not the most streamed, but I know a little bit about how things should sound. And these AirPods Max definitely boost the bass and the high end a little bit. With that being said, they sound great. And if you don't care about any of that stuff, if you just want huge bass and great crispy high end, you're gonna love the way that these AirPods Max 2 sound. And so since the AirPods Max 1 came out in 2020, 4 years later, they came out with the AirPods Max 2. And truly the only difference is we have got AirPods Max 2 with USB-C, and there's some new colors. I went for the blue color to try out. They're like a sky blue. I like the way that these look. You can also get them in like a midnight finish, which is essentially black. These ones look good. I like the way these look. You enjoying the video? Great. Well, 99.6% of you love these videos, but you do not subscribe to this channel. It takes 2 seconds, it's free, and you can do it by clicking the subscribe button down below. Thank you, and back to the video. And with USB-C, you normally expect some extra benefits like fast charging. You also can't use them whilst they're being charged. However, on a single charge, you can expect around 20 hours of listening time with noise cancellation and the spatial audio features. And what is good to know is that if you charge for just 5 minutes, you'll get approximately 1.5 hours of listening time, which is great. And on paper, 20 hours sounds great, and it will definitely get you through a normal working average day. However, that's around half of what my Sony XM4s can do, which are sat in the cupboard over there. The ones that I've been using for the past 3 years. The best noise cancelling and wireless headphones I've ever used. I only use them exclusively for traveling. They are amazing. I can really sleep well with those things, and they're definitely lighter, and they're cheaper, and they have longer battery life, and the sound quality is just as good, and the noise cancelling is up there. This is not a sales pitch for the Sony XM4s, which are a few years old, but when you compare them to the AirPods, it's like, well, hang on, the AirPods are £500, The XM4s are dropping down to like $250, even less on Black Friday and Amazon days. The AirPods Max 2 also have great noise cancelling, which is obviously amazing for travel. There's 8 microphones for active noise cancellation, and these cancel audio fantastically. If you're wearing them on a plane, it'll cut out, I'd say, around 80% of the noise. And I have to say, AirPods Max 2 have the best transparency mode that I have heard. Yes, the transparency mode allows you to hear everything that's going on around you. So whether someone's talking to you, or you have the TV on, or you need to hear if the doorbell goes, or the dog's barking, or baby crying, whatever it may be, you're going to be able to hear as if it was like you're not even wearing headphones. And the slight problem I have with this is that you will get some like high-end hiss, which is like a hissing or a fizzing sound, and you'll be able to hear this just because the microphones are trying to pick up all of the audio spectrum, and that'll be super high end. That'll be like 15K and above. And I gave these to my girlfriend, she tried them, she was like, oh wow, you can really hear this like hiss or buzz sound. I haven't used the transparency mode that often, but when I have, it has been very good. I realize how stupid this looks, but this is what the AirPods Max sound like with no extra boosts in audio performance and editing. This is just what they sound like straight out of the headphones. Are they the best quality in the world? No, I always find that Bluetooth headphones will never be as good as something wired or something like a phone or camera. And just to show you, this is what my camera sounds like with a microphone on the top, and this is what the AirPods Max sound like. So you should be able to hear quite a noticeable difference, and they'll be decent enough to send voice notes, voice memos, and everything in between. Just don't expect studio quality. And the digital crown on the AirPods Max 2 is also fantastic. There's multiple ways that you can use this. Obviously you can rotate it and you can feel like a feedback. You can press it once to stop music, you can press it twice to skip the song, and if you long press, you get to talk to Siri. So those are pretty much all of the pros that I have for the AirPods Max 2. So let's talk about some of the cons with these headphones. First of all, the major con that I have is that these headphones don't have any wired support. On the AirPods Max 1, you could use a 3.5mm headphone jack adapter to plug into speakers and laptops and devices, and even stuff like aeroplanes to listen to the media. Now on the AirPods Max 2, you don't have that option. If you plug in a 3.5mm jack into headphones or to a laptop or a phone or any sort of speakers and then plug it into USB-C, you get nothing. You have no way of listening to anything on these headphones whilst you're wired. So I think Apple must have been listening to me, because literally just as I finished recording this video, I've just seen they've put a press release out saying you can plug them into wherever you want to with a cable that they're selling for a lot of money, which is a 3.5mm headphone jack into a USB-C. You now have that option, so you can safely ignore all of the rant I just went on about not having wired support, because as of right now, you can do that. Literally found it out 30 seconds ago. Anyway, back to the video. The second con I have is the weight. These are very, very heavy headphones. They weigh in at 386.2 grams. That's mainly because they're made up of stainless steel and aluminium. And I must say the weight distribution is good, but you can definitely feel the bulkiness of them on your head. I recently flew to Budapest to spend a few days there. On the way out, it was only a 2.5-hour flight from the UK, but I could definitely feel that the weight was sitting on my head for quite a while in such a confined space. I had a bit of a headache when I got off the plane. So you'll notice the weight straight off the bat, and they weigh the same as the first version, but still, they're very heavy headphones. And you may be thinking, well, they're made of stainless steel, they're made of aluminium, they've got to be high quality build, right? The build is good. It looks good, it's clean, it's sleek, but they don't look the best, especially with this headband, and even less with this rather stupid case. Another con that I had is that I could actually hear my heartbeat when it's quiet underneath these headphones with all modes turned on, and that was a bit weird. My blood pressure is healthy, it's in a good range, and normally you're only able to hear your heartbeat when your headphones are very tight on your head. So I loosened them right up and even tilted them forward, and that took it away a little bit, but still, you still hear my heartbeat, which was a bit strange. Now, obviously, another con is the £499 price tag is way above the competitors. If you look at the Sony XM5s, which are Sony's flagship headphones, you can pick up a pair of these for £249. As I mentioned earlier, the Sony XM4s that I use, that I bought several years ago, they're still incredible. They were half the price, coming in at around £200, £250. They also have double the battery life. You're also able to use them in a wired scenario. They also weigh a lot less, and they are a lot more comfortable. Plus, the audio is better, and the noise cancelling rivals that of Apple's. Obviously, what you don't get with Sony's is the seamless integration and switching between your phone, your Mac, iPad, etc. That's the selling point, and that's the Apple ecosystem, the walled garden effect of Apple. You could buy cheaper headphones outside, but you won't get as good Siri, you won't get as good integration, so keep that in mind. I've talked about it earlier, but definitely another con is this silly travel case. I get what they've been thinking. You can hold the headphones by the headband, which is actually very comfortable, and very sturdy. But wouldn't it be great if this could just fold up? Like, if you're going to put this in a bag, which I had to do for my flight the other day, this takes up a decent amount of room. It's an odd shape, it's a weird configuration, and it takes up more room than it should. So in my limited usage of using these when traveling, these are a bit finicky and it's hard to pack them, and it's just a bit of a faff. Whereas the Sony XM4s, you can just fold up into a case, it all bends around nicely, zip it up, throw it in your bag, it squeezes in perfectly. This case also exposes all of the major parts of these headphones. It exposes the USB-C charging port, the digital crown, and the button that you press to switch modes. All of these things are out in the open, so if other things leak in your bag or things press against it, it could scratch or mark. If there was enough pressure on this, it could possibly break or even damage these. Something else that I've put down as a con, I don't know if this is genius or if this is still a bit odd, is that there's not actually an on or off button still on these AirPods Max. Apple have designed it so that if you're using them, they're always on, but if you take them off your head and you put them into the carry case, then they'll go into an ultra low power mode to save battery. However, if you just take them off your head and just leave them, they will drain battery as if they're just switched on normally and connected to a device. So the way to save battery when you're not using them is shove them in this case and put them on the side. I think it would be great to have more control over this device in terms of battery and how you can save it. It's just a bit weird to not have an on-off button, something to consider. And I briefly mentioned it earlier, there are some question marks over the durability. The AirPods Max 1, I've seen several reviews of people saying that they have held up and they're great. You just got to be careful when you place them in a bag with other stuff. And something that's actually quite alarming and worrying is that there has been a lot of reports of condensation inside the ear cups, which has caused a big stir in AirPods Max users. Just a simple Google search reveals so many articles and stories and pictures of Apple AirPods and their ear cups deteriorating. Obviously, if you're going to be using these at the gym and running around on a treadmill and building up a lot of heat and sweat, and you have them on for a sustained period of time, there's going to be sweat in there. There's going to end up being liquid inside your headphones. I think obviously the way to get around this is just by cleaning them and drying them and making sure you keep them in good nick. But obviously some people just buy them, use them, and don't really look after them. And then they might say, oh, well, they're broken. It's like, you've just bought a £500 headphone. Maybe you should actually put some effort into looking after them and making sure that they're working properly. Maybe that's just me. And the last con that I have, it's just a tiny thing. I think the audio lag over Bluetooth is just slightly too much to do really precise audio work. I'm not saying that I would use these to produce music anyway, because I definitely would not. As I said earlier, you want a flat EQ to know what you're doing, but I wouldn't use these in really precise audio work. And I will probably use them to edit this video right now. Obviously, there's going to be some lag over Bluetooth. That's known with all Bluetooth devices, but just something to consider. And so my overall verdict of the AirPods Max 2, if I'm personally comparing them to the Sony XM4s that I have had for several years, it is a close call, but I would still prefer to use the Sonys due to their excellent noise cancelling and reduced price point, and also comfort. The AirPods Max 2 do, however, just get the nod in terms of seamless integration into your life with a Mac, an iPhone, and an Apple Watch, and also come with very good audio quality. These things are all fantastic. The convenience of these features may well justify the £499 price tag for a lot of people. So if you're in the market to get headphones and you want the best integration with Apple devices, get the AirPods Max 2. You won't regret it. You'll end up spending more money than you would if you bought something like the Sony XM4s or XM5s, but you will get slightly better Apple ecosystem integration in the walled garden of Apple. But if you're not fussed about that, go and get the Sonys, save yourself 250 quid, you won't regret it. But if you do buy these headphones, rest assured you're getting really, really good headphones. Great noise cancelling, fantastic transparency mode, thick, strong bass, great high end, and the convenience of Siri and the Apple ecosystem integrations. If you value those things and you can afford the £499, buy it and you will love these headphones. And if you're interested in a Vecan hoodie, these will be coming very soon. Keep an eye out on the Vecan Music social media. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.